The Tin Man!
Good morning, everybody. It is Friday, July 5th, 2019. I am the Tryp Man, Scott, and I'm here to give you the latest Uber news that the Uber tubers just don't want to talk about. Now, I'm going to do the best I can here. I have all these news websites that are still busy loading ads. However, I am a broadcast professional, and I'm going to, oh wow, look at this place. Man, this is gorgeous. $72.5 million, look what you get. Oh my God, all this marble. And look, there's a TV on every wall. I wouldn't have paid more than $70.5 million for this place, though. Hey, say it was worth $100 million. But how many bathrooms are there? How many bedrooms? I bet it doesn't have 19 bedrooms and 18 bathrooms. I can tell you, in the Uber in the News top story, Dean Nelson, head of data centers computing for Uber, has quit, left the building. Now, there's been no comment from Uber or Dean Nelson, so we don't know why, and we don't even know if it's true, because sometimes you just can't trust the news. Besides that, they could still be arguing over money. We have a related news story we'll get to later, but let's start off with the headlines. College Station, Texas. Man arrested after hitting Uber car with a sledgehammer. Now, I know if I went out and hit somebody's car with a sledgehammer, I'd be going to jail that same day. This guy did it back at the end of March, and he punched the driver in the face during the ride. So the driver dropped him off. They got into an argument outside the vehicle, commonly known as a fight. The victim, after probably losing most of the swinging part of the fight, hopped in his car and tried to drive away, and that's when Clary picked up a sledgehammer out of a truck bed and hit the car several times, smashing out the headlights and a window. The estimated cost of the damage was about $1,100. Uber, of course, is not paying a penny. So Tuesday, he was arrested and charged with criminal mischief. And this is the breaking news. Clary is the first passenger who has been banned from the Uber app. In our next news story, we go over to the Minneapolis-St. Paul airport. A retired cop said he got tired of watching soap operas and CNN, so he decided to drive for Uber. And he put a sign, he bought some magnetic signs for his car, and it says his name, which I can't see now because I've reached my monthly article limit. And this is my first news story from the Star Tribune. I do have a website that allows me to get around paywalls, but I'll just have to operate from memory. The airport official said, "You can't have that sign on your rideshare car." He said, "Oh yeah, I can. I used to be a cop. I can do whatever the hell I want. I ain't got to obey your laws and rules here at the airport." The airport official said, "Yes, you do." And he said, "Ah, hell, I'll just appeal." So he went through the appeal process with the airport, and they said, "Nope, nope. It says clearly here in the rideshare rules you can't have a sign on your car." And he said, "But why?" And they said it would cause confusion. I wondered about that myself because the cop said, it helps people find me. When there's a bunch of us Ubers driving around in the same car, the passengers can see my sign and they know it's me. And the airport officials pointed out that 4,500 of the Uber drivers are all named Mohammed, and 2,500 are named David. So there would be a security problem because somebody looking for David to pick them up could hop in the wrong car. If all the rideshare drivers followed suit and put signs on their car that said Uber in their name, well, I think you can understand. So they don't want to be taxis, but they want to pick people up and drive them around and charge them money. But once upon a time, there was a reason taxis had the name of the company and the phone number on the side of their car, and it had something to do with bandit cabs. And let's get right on with it because we're running out of time here. The bandit cabs, they would have, Pete's Taxi on one side of their car and Joe's Taxi on the other side of the car, two different phone numbers. And, well, the story ends the same. One morning, they just weren't there. The Pete's Bandit Cab Company just flew in the middle of the night, as they always do. So, we're moving right along here. We should be able to pick up a little speed after we get past this one paywall here. We're on to the Bloomberg news from Japan. Dara, Uber's CEO, is over in Japan, and he's real happy. He's tapped into the senior labor supply. What does this mean? It means Uber Eats is now employing seniors. The younger Uber Eats drivers are in their cars. The seniors prefer to get exercise, so they're delivering Ramen noodles in running shoes. And Dara is in the country this week to stress the importance of the market, where the San Francisco-based company has built a growing food delivery business but kept rides limited to black car hires and taxi dispatches. Interesting. And of course, Japan is also home to Uber's biggest shareholder, SoftBank Group, who's never gonna be paid back a penny. Uber, a large amount of their money that they got from the IPO, is going to service the debt load that they have and the lawsuits and the $72.5 million mansions. More than 10,000 restaurants and 15,000 couriers are part of a delivery network spanning 10 Japan cities. That's only 15% of the population, compared with 70% in the U.S., leaving plenty of growth in the market for Dara and his cronies. Now, these Uber Eats drivers in Japan don't make much money, but that's not exactly news, is it? Now, as we try and scroll down to the bottom of the page, we only have 2 free articles remaining here at the Bloomberg News. And to support its Uber Eats business, as well as its efforts to offer dispatch services for taxi company, Uber is planning to increase full-time staffing in Japan by more than 30% over the next year, from about 100 Uber dispatchers now. But they're not a taxi company, they're just having dispatchers dispatch taxis to people who need rides. That brings us almost towards the bottom of the page. SoftBank's CEO has built a stake of 13% in Uber. It's worth about $9.8 billion. $9.8 billion that Dara doesn't have. He trades debt based on stockholders' money, and SoftBank's trying to pick up another $100 million, and here's a funny line from Uber CEO Massa, CEO of SoftBank, and we talk about growth. We don't talk about exit. Somebody's going to prison. Somebody's going to prison. Somebody's going to get killed by the Saudis. And today is a wonderful day. Happy Friday to you. In Jupiter, Florida, they budgeted $15,000 for free Uber rides for the holiday weekend. And guess what? It's all gone. Yes, it's all gone. In Jupiter, Florida, the $15,000 worth of Uber rides was used up before noon. So from the data center knowledge information systems, we have to close this window and cancel this pop-up. But it says Dean Nelson, the data center industry veteran whose most recent job was running all things computer infrastructure at Uber, has left the ride-hailing company. An Uber spokesperson told Data Center Knowledge. Nelson didn't respond to a request for a comment, and his LinkedIn profile still lists him as head of Uber Metal, Uber's shell company, to avoid taxes in any possible jurisdiction. And that's it. We got more windows popping up, more ads loading. But we got more news to get to. It's never slow in the Uber world. Let's go to the related story here. He quit Wednesday night. Thursday, Dean Nelson packed up his belongings in his office and said, "I'm out of here." We just don't know if it was Dara saying, "Hey, your ass is fired," or "You better resign. I'm going to tell your wife about that chick you've been banging." So, after dropping off passengers at a Broadway play, the foreign named Uber driver who runs his own service, also drives for Uber on the side, drives through the west side of Manhattan in New York. And here it is. An issue with Uber's dispatching software is sending drivers to the rider's final destination with nobody in the car. And passengers, of course, are being charged. And this has been going on for a week now. And of course, Uber does not have a comment. And if we could just scroll down the page. Alright, so both riders have reported the recurring issue over the past week. The Uber officials did not respond for a comment, but its official support account said on Twitter that it was aware of the issue. The issue appears to be mainly affecting the Uber driver app, which is a separate product from the rider app, and sending drivers to a requested destination before picking up the passenger who requested to go there. Man, if there would just not be so many ads popping up on these websites. If I could just scroll up and down the page. It happens repeatedly to the passengers. They got charged twice, and they of course didn't get their money back, but Uber offered them a ride credit, maybe, and one dissatisfied passenger tweeted, "Please help Uber support. My driver went to the destination instead of pickup and refuses to cancel the ride. I called him, but he said he would not cancel. Now I am stranded and will miss my class." Another disgruntled Uber customer said, "Hey, Uber support, something is wrong with your system. I've had 2 drivers within 10 minutes drive directly to my destination instead of my pickup point. What gives?" So, Uber delayed 2 months ago about bugs in the app when it was crashing when I was trying to log in, a driver from Tennessee said, because she doesn't want pushback from the company. Finally, I gave up and started driving for Lyft instead. Another disgruntled Uber customer says, "Twice today I was sent to the rider's destination instead of the pickup location." I think I see what's going on here. Uber has found a way to double charge the passengers because they're so desperate for money. And then they offer them a ride credit, and they're so pissed off at Uber, they're using Lyft, or dare I say, riding in a taxi. So, if we could just move on. We're almost there at the end of the news for Friday, July 5th, 2019. But my computer is frozen as the ads just keep loading. I'm gonna have to go around here and move on to another topic I meant to discuss. I always try and give a shout out to Dave the Uber slave and Dustin. Stand down. Somebody's calling me. Pay attention. If only my computer was not paralyzed with the news sites loading ads and popping up windows on my computer. We'll get to the Uber rape in a minute. But first, let me give a shout out to all the Uber tubers out there that make this entertaining, news, this Uber news possible. Of course, we want to thank CEO Rideshare Revolution, and the rideshare professor, he's taking money on a GoFundMe page for his BBS, where people can pay him $50 a year to get special posting privileges. But let me thank Artie and Bam Bam and the Chicago Bum Brothers, Calvin, Carlton, Cicely, Shelly, you gotta stop with those sweets. You're gonna have to take up jogging or something. You're not gonna be able to fit behind the steering wheel if you just keep eating. And of course, Dylan. Oh, let's quickly move past him because we don't want to give him any publicity on our channel. And then Jay and Jethro and Jimmy and Johnny and Kevin and the other Kevin and Liddy and Mandy, our poor Chicago Uber driver with the cancer problem. Everybody, if you're not aware, Mandy does a Driver Lady Pro Uber channel. She needs subscribers. She's battling cancer. She's breathing out of an oxygen tank, and Mark with Uber Hands, he could give a shit less. And then Ride with Peterson, he's sleeping in his car these days, but he's still Ubering. He loves the freedom of not having to hold down a regular job, as does Rockwell in Nashville. He's a Lyft driver. At least he was a Lyft driver until Halloween of last year, when suddenly his channel stopped broadcasting. He's probably doing DoorDash or something by now. You know the usual evolution. I'm an Uber driver. I'm an Uber driver. No, I'm a Lyft driver. I'm a Lyft driver. Lyft pays better. Oh, I'm a Lyft driver. Hey, my car's all broken and crapped out. Now I'm a Uber driver who rents his car from Fair. It's only $200 a week, and they change the tires. Anyhow, Uber tuner Ronnie and Roy, Trent, Vincent, Will, Zaxer, Dark Road Runner, whatever his name is, we thank you all for making it possible and teaching me the unspoken rules of Uber and Lyft. Back to the news. I'm saving the rape for last. This is a story from one of the financial papers. I won't give them any plug here on my channel. Uber currently employs, not talking about the drivers, just talking about Uber's office staff, 22,000 people, probably all making between $50,000, $100,000 a year, or $100 million a year. Certain lucky few. Jupiter ran out of their money. All the taxi companies in town called the city councilman to complain. Hey, why don't you pay us? We'll give them a ride. And then, let's see here. What's this last, probably funny as hell story? Well, it's so funny. I'll let you guess what it's about. David Wheel is Dean and Professor at the Heller School for Social Policy and Management at Brandeis University. He served as Wage and Hour Administrator at the U.S. Department of Labor. Can you guess what that news story's about? Yeah, just so turns out that his opinion is that Uber drivers are employees. And they would have to take out for various expenses that other businesses have to. Minimum wage laws, unemployment insurance, workers' compensation, and collect and pay state and federal payroll taxes. Trump's IRS, well, I've got some inside information on that, and they're coming for you. They're coming for the drivers, they're coming for the company. They want their tax money. And they don't care if it's the gas or charge, Uber drivers parking fees. I noticed an interesting article in one of these gig and hustle websites. Hustle and Whistle. Yeah, I think it was the Hustle and Whistle website. If you're not driving around hoes, you ought to be slinging weed. I got my ad on Craigslist. If you need a $5 bag or a $10 bag, just call me. I'll be right over. I'm an Uber driver. Anyhow, it would be a shame if the Uber company was having to operate in a world of workplace regulations, but there is no reason that the new business can't be built on a system of rights and protections like fair wages, rules against discrimination. We don't pick up in the hood. UberTuber's favorite video to make is why we don't pick up in the hood. Oh, I just turn my app off whenever I get on the south side of Chicago. I'm not picking up them bastards. They don't tip. So, I said it was going to take all weekend. It only took one day. Mugahid. Let me see if I can pronounce his name. Let me see if I can scroll down to KSNB, local Channel 4 NBC news station. They are just such talented rocket scientists there. They make these websites that load ads and play videos and pop up a cookie notice and then pop up a notifications window and pop up and do you want to subscribe to our mailing list, and do you want to buy some clean white sheets? Anyhow, a Grand Island Uber driver, Magahid Belia, has been arrested for first-degree attempted sexual assault and first-degree false imprisonment. From the looks of his mugshot here, he probably had one so tiny he wasn't able to get it in. So that's why it wasn't rape. He wasn't able to deposit any DNA sample. But according to Grand Island police, around 10:30 last night, was called to pick up a 34-year-old female to take her to the local pump and pantry store. Police said after arriving back to the victim's apartment, the Uber driver allegedly began to play Romeo and try and kiss the victim, and pulled her back into the car, the back seat, while making sexual advances. That is, he tried to get his zipper down. The victim was able to get away and run back to the... I did not read this news story before I started broadcasting. Everything coming out of my mouth, it's the first impression. There could be other facts and circumstances related to this case I'm not aware of. I'm sure she was coming on to him because all the Uber drivers say their passengers are trying to pick them up, and they only go with the ones that'll tip them. They don't tip them, they don't unzip them. That's what they say. Anyhow, police said they were able to locate Bell shortly after the incident based on his Uber account information. Because he went home. None of these Uber drivers can make it more than 2 hours in the car. Anyhow, Mr. Foreigner Uber driver was arrested for first-degree attempted sexual assault and first-degree false imprisonment. Does not have any word here on bail. So he got arrested at 10:30 last night. It's a large city. He'll probably be out by tonight. And 9 o'clock tonight, when you need to make your run to the pump and pantry, he'll be there to pick you up. Uber doesn't say anything in this news article about Uber suspending his account or deactivating them. And doesn't even have the usual, oh, we feel so sorry. We'll refund the charge to this poor woman who took a ride to the pump and pantry. But they won't. They'll give her a credit. They won't even give her her money back. She'll be tweeting for a couple of weeks. Uber, the guy tried to rape me. Uber, the police arrested the man. I want my money back. She ain't gonna get it. Uber has never ever refunded money. They only give Uber ride credits. Anyhow, I don't know how Uber manages to do this. I've now spent nearly 30 minutes talking about what's wrong with Uber. It's Friday, July 5th, 2019. And that was the Uber in the news. From your friend, the Tryp Man, Scott Walsh. Have a wonderful July 4th weekend. And remember, everybody loves Uber until they get Ubered.